Hey guys, welcome back to Adventures in Aviators, your do-it-yourself adventure channel. We are continuing our snorkeling on Kwajalein in the Marshall Islands snorkel series. And as always, we're going to look at our categories of location, water access, water traffic, wildlife, and facilities, and rank it on our scale of 1 to 5 manta rays. Today we are doing a unique snorkel that is going north of North Point. And the snorkel has a whole lot going for it. So let's jump in. Where are we talking about here? Well, we've talked about North Point in a couple of our other videos. We talked about it in our Iman Beach video, where you can kind of swim up to North Point, or you can kind of get out here if you go over the top of the reef, which we talked about recently as well. But the key thing to know here is that at North Point, you have a set of stairs that you can get down here. So North Point is in the northwest corner here of this little J, and it is up by some bit of housing, but not like the hub of town, not too far from Iman Beach, which is a major hub of activity. You're just gonna follow that perimeter road up to the set of stairs. Nice and easy location. I'm gonna give this 4 out of 5 manta rays for location. Now, water access, I mentioned these stairs here at North Point, but this one is a little bit different here. Again, like our going over the top of the reef snorkel that we talked about recently, this is a snorkel that you can only do during certain tides. So those tides are really important out here. The height of the water can vary as much as 4 or 5 feet during extreme tides. And because, as we talked about previously, that water comes around the island here from the east and pushes over, this snorkel is best done when there is low tide. So there's not nearly as much water going over the reef here, so that you can make this swim to the north without a lot of resistance. But what that does mean is that getting out here, going down these stairs, that water level is going to be quite low. But in order to get out here from these stairs, you're going to have to kind of walk on the reef. And again, we have this little bit of a trench here at North Point that gets you to the point where you get to about knee deep, and then you can kind of set down in the water and start floating at that point. But because this is a snorkel that you have to do at lower tides, it's a little bit more of a challenging entry here, and I'm only going to give this 3 out of 5 manta rays for water access. Now, I know there's a lot of people that hang out down at Iman Beach, but almost no one ever comes up to North Point, very, very rarely, and even fewer people choose to go north of North Point. So you should have this entire area to yourself when you find a good low tide to go up. Always very important, actually, on this snorkel to take a friend with you, or a couple friends, just because you're getting even further away from the island. You're going to go north here away from the island. So getting back to the island is going to take a little bit more effort as well. So if something were to happen, you are going to have a little bit further to travel than most of these other snorkels. So definitely go with your small group of people. And you can see here I got to go with some members of the marine biology class here on Kwajalein, and that was really fun, along with some other friends. But make sure you go with friends on this snorkel. But because you should not plan on seeing anybody else up this way, this gets the illustrious 5 out of 5 manta rays. All right, so wildlife, what can we expect to see in this area? Well, guys, I gotta tell you, this is some really, really pretty coral up in this area specifically. So this is really immersive snorkel. And so as you get to this little jog in the reef here, you see it kind of sticks out here. As you're going north, you're just following the drop off, and then all of a sudden it kind of runs into something. And you can follow the drop off here if you wanted to, or at this point you can kind of head into the coral. It becomes more like coral heads. And as you come into this area and kind of work your way east just a little bit, you get like a maze of channels with all of this kind of coral, very shallow, that just surrounds you and engulfs you as you make your way kind of through. And occasionally you'll run into a little bit of a dead end, and it can be too shallow to kind of float over the top, because again, you're probably going to do this at a relatively or very low tide, right? So, but I just love getting lost in this area up here, and it just kind of seems to go forever. And as you can see here, you just are surrounded by amazing, healthy coral that is just spectacular. Tons, hundreds, if not thousands of fish surrounding you in this area. It is beautiful. So it is just a very immersive experience, a little bit different than some of the like coral heads that you go and look at down by Iman Beach or going over the top. But this area is spectacular. Some things that you can certainly anticipate seeing up this way. I definitely see turtles up this way. You can see a variety of sharks, and I will say it's very rare to see, but this is where I see nurse sharks, which are one of the bigger shark species around on Kwaj. very safe, just like all the other sharks. But this is an area, sometimes you can actually find them sleeping under coral heads, as we did here on this day, and they can be quite sizable. This is one of the few sharks that you will see out here that's actually as big, if not bigger than you. So that's really special. Again, rare find, but you can definitely find them up here. So generally, I would say turtles, sharks, and you can find manta rays up here as well. More likely to be along the edge and not in amongst the shallow corals, but along this edge, I've certainly seen manta rays as well. So a super beautiful area, a huge variety of coral, and you just can get lost up here for, I mean, an hour. But again, you do need to be mindful. The tide will be rising, right? It doesn't stay low for too long. And as it starts to rise up, you're going to start feeling that push from the water. It's going to push you into the lagoon and or down and around towards Kwaj. And so you don't want to be hanging out here too long before you start feeling that current pick up. But when it comes to wildlife, this is one of my favorite snorkels to do around Kwaj. That is the illustrious 5 out of 5 manta rays. Finally, facilities. Again, we do have the bike rack and shower station, or just kind of rinse off area, up at North Point, but otherwise you are on your own and actually getting further away from the island, so even fewer and less access to facilities up in this area. That only gives us 3 out of 5 mantas for facilities. So I would consider this a bit more of an advanced snorkel. You do need to go there and back, and so you want to feel like you've got that bit of endurance going to be able to do the snorkel. Again, it's limited time at low tides only. Definitely take a crew with you. Make sure everybody is feeling safe and comfortable. This is one where you want to really float on the top of the water to try to maybe hop between these channels. And so just remember, float and stay stiff like a surfboard, and you'll float in very, very little water, even less than you realize that you maybe can. Again, don't touch anything. Make sure that you're avoiding touching this coral. If you get scraped, make sure you really scrub it out. Make sure that there's nothing left inside of you that is alive and can infect really easily. But ooh, is it pretty, and one of my favorite spots to enjoy. I hope you can check it out when you come out to Kwaj. If you've done this snorkel or have other suggestions for places that you'd like to see us do videos on, please put those in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.